Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Today, I want to talk about a problem that's holding AI back and a method that can help solve it. So, AI is everywhere in finance, healthcare, marketing, but the truth is, a lot of these systems are still black boxes. If people can't understand why an AI made a decision, they won't trust it. And if they don't trust it, they won't use it. That's where SHAP comes in. It's a method that makes AI decisions understandable, transparent, and ultimately trustworthy. So let's talk about the problem first. We all know that AI models are really good at making predictions, but they're not good at explaining themselves. For example, when a loan gets denied or a patient gets flagged as high risk, we can't always ask why. That lack of transparency is frustrating and is a business risk. It leads to compliance issues, reputational damage, and low stakeholder confidence. So, regulators, customers, and executives are all asking the same questions. Can you explain this decision? Can you explain what's happening in the back? And in many cases, the answer right now is no. So this is where SHAP comes in. SHAP is short for Shapley Additive Explanations. And SHAP takes any AI model and shows you in plain language which factors drove its decision. For example, in a loan approval model, SHAP might tell us that income increased and approval probability, well, that lowered it. It's based on well-established math from cooperative game theory, but the beauty is the output isn't math. It's clear, understandable explanations. SHAP turns black box models into something that business leaders, regulators, and customers can actually trust. So, how does SHAP work? I will try to explain this with less technical details, but in a more plain language. Think of it like this. We start with a baseline, basically the model's average prediction. Then we look at each feature and ask, did this feature push the prediction up or did it pull it down? When we add up all those contributions, we get a transparent, auditable explanation of why the model made the decision. It's kind of like a financial statement, like every factor has its line item and together they sell the story. Next, I want to talk about why this matters for business. So, explainability equals trust, and trust is what drives adoption. So, first, SHAP supports regulatory compliance in banking, healthcare, and insurance. That's very important. Second, it improves risk management and helps detect bias or unfair treatment early. Third, it builds trust with customers, executives, and regulators. When everyone understands the decision, no one feels blindsided. And finally, it speeds up model approval and deployment because decisions can be explained and defended. Next, I want to emphasize that SHAP isn't just a theory, it's already in use across industries. For example, in finance, banks use it to explain credit decisions and meet regulatory standards. And in healthcare, it helps doctors understand why a model flagged a patient as high risk. And in fraud detection, analysts can see which signals triggered an alert. And in customer analytics, it helps businesses explain churn or recommendations to non-technical stakeholders. So this broad applicability is what makes SHAP so powerful and investable. Here, I want to talk a little more about why SHAP is a smart investment. So as you can see listed here, it's grounded in solid math, but it's easy to communicate. It bridges the gap between technical teams and executive decision makers. It reduces business risk and accelerates responsible AI adoption. And it's backed by a strong open source community and wide industry adoption. So investing in SHAP is about explainability. It's also about building trust into every AI decision your organization makes. Because, at the end of the day, trust is what makes technology scalable. So here is a quick comparison between SHAP and other methods. If you are curious about why SHAP specifically, it's not the only explanation method out there, but it's one of the few with a theoretical foundation, model agnostic flexibility, and widespread real world use. That's why so many organizations are standardizing on it as their explainability layer. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation, and thank you so much for listening. Hopefully, this gives you a better idea about SHAP and why it's worth investing. Thank you.